So now it's my pleasure to introduce a book edited by Jan Machielsen, Senior Lecturer in Early Modern History in Cardiff, with the fabulous title, The Science of Demons, Early Modern Authors Facing Witchcraft and the Devil. So it's been published by Routledge in strikingly affordable paperback, $32.99, congratulations, and an even slightly cheaper ebook, and hardback, of course. And it comes with strong praise on the back from the likes of Charles Zeker and Lyndall Roper. Roper calls it an extraordinary achievement, which is a striking endorsement indeed. So really whatever praise I add here will be cherry on the top, I'm sure. So I'm going to assume that we also might have some of the authors joining us today, which of course I can't see, but hello and congratulations. Please forgive me for not running through all of the names, but instead directing people to the full contents list on the Routledge website and the very convenient Buy Now button at the bottom of the screen. So beyond Jan's introduction, there are 19 chapters in 5 sections. We have beginnings, the first wave of printed witchcraft texts, the 16th century debate, demonology and theology, demonology and law, and then a handy bibliography of the critical editions and English translations of demonological texts. This works across the Great Divide, to borrow from Judith Bennett, stretching from the late medieval to the early modern periods. It sort of ends toward the beginning of the 17th century. They also take in an admirable range of demonological thinkers and witch hunt episodes across Europe, handily indicated in the map at the beginning, stretching from Salamanca in the west to Poznan in the east. Cutting across the chapters, we see the extent to which demonologists at different levels borrowed and deviated from one another and responded to bigger events. Not just the Reformation, but also the invasion of the Americas, the spread of print, and other shifts in science, law, etc., etc. There is, for example, a grappling with theological problems of demonic agency. Why did God allow the devil so much power? Was he holding him back, or was there a possible rivalry? Here we see one of my favourite lines from you, Jan, where the issue of the devil as God's ape renders him destined to forever play Wile E. Coyote to God's roadrunner. There is too the unpacking of rationalizations for demonic and witch acts, and the processes designed to reveal and combat them. As a medical historian, I was struck by the parallel of understanding and explaining the rationales for medical processes that seem really odd to us, but are explicable through historical logics. As the book puts it, the science of demons. Through the demonological treatises and other sources, we also find the voices of people who were prosecuted as witches, and there are interesting things to find here in regard to women in particular as voices of experience and authority, and debates among theologians and lawyers about the validity of evidence and testimony. Could the word of one accused witch be trusted against another, or as evidence for fantastical events? I was quite struck by Henri Bourget seeking out the answer to whether witches could procreate through their sex with the devil by asking, and apparently believing, 2 women who were then in custody. One apparently says that God wouldn't allow it, and the other says more simply that she's too old. And Jan, I'll bring you here, if I may, to ask you a couple of questions.
Hi.
Hello. Okay, so you speak in the acknowledgements of the book's origins in the anniversaries of Sidney Anglow's The Damned Art, 1977, and Stuart Clark's Thinking with Demons, 1997. So I was wondering, what did you sort of set out wanting the volume to achieve, and did this change as it came together?
Oh, well, there was one person who was going to contribute who had to withdraw. So we would have had a slightly bigger geographical range if she was contributing. But it was sort of like the biggest challenge was that I would like the book to be both a sort of reference work where you like, oh, I'm interested in a particular demonologist, I can look up a particular chapter, but I also wanted the book to sort of tell an overarching story. so that one might actually conceivably sort of sit down and sort of like read it from cover to cover and sort of like, use that as a way of showing that demonology has changed. And that sort of like then creates questions, because like can't be an encyclopedia. So who do you include? Who do you exclude? I mean, if space was not an option, I would have loved to have had a section on demonology and medicine. So we only have one physician actually sort of like reflecting on witchcraft. But witchcraft is a real medical problem as well. That doctors also claim to be able to discern. So from that perspective, it would have been nice to have more coverage there, but the publishers really drew a line, as they're saying, like 19th is more than enough, and the chapters would have had to get shorter and shorter in order to accommodate more of them anyway. So that was the main challenge, as it were.
Fair enough. And my closing question, and you might want to segue from this onto wherever you wish to go. But I know that you're currently in the UK, but you're mainly researching in Germany at the moment on sort of the new project. And I did wonder if anything from this book had changed how you were going about this current project that you're undertaking.
Well, it was an opportunity to present some of the early findings from my new project. So together with a colleague, I did a chapter on Pierre de Lancre, who was the demonologist involved in the witch hunt that I'm currently working on. And it did sort of like provide me with sort of the space about sort of like thinking about how unusual he is compared to other demonologists. There is such an effort to try and fit him into a straitjacket, claiming that he is an Orthodox Catholic and that sort of thing, when he's definitely not. And in some sense, like having this volume with lots of different demonologists with all sorts of beliefs, sort of like allowed me to sort of like make that case or think through that case, I think a bit more clearly. So yeah, that would be my answer. Thank you so much, Emily, for this really kind sort of like survey and introduction of the book. I'm really glad that you liked it.
I did. Congratulations.